Everyone always wants to be the star employee, the one that's always scoring the goals, the one that everyone's talking about, the one that everyone admires. But the people most organizations value over time aren't necessarily the ones that are chasing the spotlight. And I'm here to spill the beans on why that is, so that you're also someone that people and organizations want to work with and coveting for their organizations. Now, as some of you may know, I'm a huge Thierry fan, and I have been following his career outside of football very closely. And there are a lot of interviews and books that I have read around him that have actually formed this video. Now, this video will come with a healthy caveat, because actually I have said on this channel before that being invisible at work can cost you a promotion or sometimes even stop you from being hired. So by the end of this video, I will square that circle for you. So keep tuned. When people think of Thierry Henry, like I do, we think about the number of goals, we think about the great finishes, the brilliant moments of magic. It was often like watching a dancer on the pitch. He was so fast and so agile.
And the next trick is called the hospital flip. Why is it called a hospital flip?
But what's also overlooked and often forgotten is how he also created those moments for others. And he did that often, as he says in his own words, more often than not with a smile.
I used to prefer an assist than a goal. And people always used to go, what? Come on, stop lying. No.
For real?
Yes. Watch me when I used to score. It's simple, you can see it. How many times you saw me really smiling after a goal? I always used to think, so for example, let's say I miss a goal, or I'm thinking even the game before. And for me, in my mind, I'm kind of like, how did I effing miss that last week or 5 minutes before and I scored this one? And I was always keeping that. But then, look at when I ever used to give an assist, I used to smile.
He truly enjoyed and cherished the assists. And this is what sets you apart in the workplace. What we often overlook is the runs that dragged a defender out of their spot so that his teammate could score. These are the critical moments. I'm talking about the pass before the pass.
Here's that deep corner kick. It's broken for Henry for his first touch of the ball, and he glides past the first man who was Redknapp. He has Bergkamp ahead of him and tries to play Bergkamp in, and he does. Here's the cross, Vieira!
He didn't just score, he made everyone around him better, and that is what organizations are looking for. Those A-star players not only make themselves good, but they make everyone around them even better. And that's because a team full of employees that make each other better are impossible to beat, and organizations know that. In the world of work, this has never been more true. We often think that the people that are most valuable in an organization are the loudest, the ones that are able to take charge of a room. They're the ones that sound the smartest, and they're the ones that are the most visible in the room. But actually, if you do this too much, and I have seen a lot of people take it to the extreme, you can actually start rubbing people up the wrong way. And that also gets noticed, because what organizations often want is a harmonized team that are working in a succinct and coordinated way. So by acting in a way that's going to make your colleagues be a bit more defensive is probably not the best way to get the best performance out of a team, and therefore your organization. The ones that often hold the team together are highly skilled individuals that know when to step back, but also when to showcase themselves and get that winning streak if necessary. But they are also able to identify when there is someone who's better at performing X, Y, and Z, and give them the space to do that and give them all the help and assistance they need to do. And that makes for an excellent team player. And that's because these actions cumulatively make the entire organization and team better, and you're able to get to your deliverables quicker in a more efficient way. And that's because you haven't let your ego get in the way of your team's success. On the screen, I've pulled together the characteristics that make for an excellent employee, and I'll put that there for you to sit and reflect about how you, over the next week or so, can do a certain action that takes you a step closer to being a bit more like Thierry Henry. The biggest reason I've heard leaders saying that they like these type of individuals is because individual brilliance can win moments, but a fantastic team that's being uplifted can win seasons, and that's what they want to do. They want to manufacture and be able to repeat success over a period of time, and these individuals allow for that to happen. In purely mathematical terms, a person who makes every single person in their team 10% better produces more value for an organization than by the individual themselves being twice as better than everyone else. And mind you, this success not only compounds, but it's also sustained. If you go off sick or injured, etc., the success is then still maintained within the organization and the team. Most organizations will remember the people that made the team better, not just performed the greatest. Now, here's the uncomfortable truth at the start of the video that I said I would square off. Making everyone better is absolutely critical, but making sure that you get that credibility and that visibility amongst the peers that are going to be promoting you is super important. Let them know in your one-to-ones and in your annual reviews that this is something that you're working towards. Put it down as a goal, because by ensuring that other people are successful, what you're trying to show is that you're taking on management skills and showing leadership qualities. What you don't want to do is make everyone 10% better and then people not knowing that you're the glue or the enabler. When you're on a football pitch, it's much easier to see who crossed who and who created space by making an ingenious pass, but it's not so evident when you're working from home or you're not in the office or your managers are busy with doing 1,000,001 other things. Making crystal clear in your annual reviews or your week-to-week review about what it is that you've exactly done and who you've helped and what the impact of it is critical in enabling you to be successful. Also, during annual review time, asking those peers to give you feedback is critical. Once you've done something for an individual, within a timely manner, say a week or two, ask them for feedback about how you've contributed to their success, and keep this all in a project folder. And once your annual review comes round, make sure that you bring up this evidence, and you've then got your colleagues who are also speaking on your behalf to testify for how great you've been within the team. What you don't want is, as the enabler, your management and team overlooking the social lubrication that you have carried out in order to make people better at their jobs. Just because it's an invisible, intangible thing that you're doing doesn't mean that it's not valuable. It is your job to ensure that the leadership see the value and see what your contribution is to this. So to reiterate, the goal isn't to be either a great teammate or just be an enabler that's invisible. Your job is to ensure that you work as a glue and an enabler within your organization to make your team members better, but also ensure that that work is being credited and is being acknowledged by both your teammates and your managers. And as I say, you don't need to brag. All you need to do is make sure that your work is legible, that others can testify to it, that it's tied to specific outcomes that your team is trying to achieve, and simply giving pointers to your manager about what exactly you've done in terms of steps to help your team achieve these things. So this working week, think to yourself, who can I make better? And think about whether it's a 5%, 10% increase in productivity or time saving that you can do, teaching them a new skill, for example. Make sure you go ahead and put the steps in place to help that colleague out, but then also get the feedback from them and make sure that it's acknowledged by your managers. So as I say, the strongest careers aren't built by scoring the most goals. They're made by making the whole team stronger and being made by people who the organization hate or don't want to lose. In the comment section, let me know who your Thierry Henry has been in your career, what they did, what the outcomes were, and what you've learned. And if you yourself have been a Thierry Henry, let me know in the comment section what you've done, and not start a discourse around that, because this may spark within those that are watching this video an idea of how they might be able to help a colleague or someone that they work with in a sister team out this week. Thank you so much for watching. I make regular content like this on a weekly basis, which is evidence-based career techniques that you can leverage to improve your career opportunity. Don't forget to hit subscribe and like whilst you're here. Thank you so much, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.